In this video, we're going to show you how to replace the alternator on your Ford Mustang located underneath your hood above the power steering pump. We're going to use a 1/2-inch socket. We're going to go ahead and loosen the nut on the terminal here. And go ahead and give this a little wiggle. Now we did spray this down with some penetrant here to go ahead and loosen things up. Wiggle that terminal off and just set that down aside. We're going to use an 18mm wrench. I'm going to come on down here to the front of the tensioner bolt here on the pulley. Put it on the pulley and lift up. That's going to give us some slack and we can go ahead and release this back down. Now we can remove our belt. Now the key thing here is before you remove that belt completely, it's always a good idea to either take a picture of it or write it down on a piece of paper or something of where the belt gets routed. Once that's all set, go ahead and pull that belt off and just get that set off to the side. On the back side of our alternator here, we have an electrical connector. You want to come around to the back side and there's a little spring tab clip on the back. You're going to press in on that. And I'm going to use a small pocket screwdriver to gently pry this up. Go ahead, pop that up and off. You want to be careful not to pull on these wires going into the connector. That's why I was using a pocket screwdriver to assist there. Over here, you have a rubber boot. You're going to peel this back and there's a 10mm nut on the back side. I'm going to go ahead and use our wrench. Let's go ahead and loosen that nut. I'm going to go ahead and spin that off completely. Go ahead and remove that nut. And then we can remove that lug off of that. So that's going to loosen up our entire harness right here. Just go ahead and set that aside. To remove the alternator, we have a 15mm bolt on the bottom and a 13mm up top. I'm going to go ahead and loosen that top one. I'm going to spin that bolt out and set that aside. Let's go to that 15mm bolt on the bottom. Let's go ahead, loosen and remove this one. Go ahead and grab that alternator. And we're just going to swing that back and forth and rock it in the upward position. Now in our case, our alternator is a little bit stuck. We're going to put a pry bar between the power steering pump bracket here. And we're just going to gently pry upward, working the alternator free from that mount. Go ahead, remove the alternator. Let's lower our alternator down in a position. I'm going to use a pry bar here just to try and maneuver this over a little bit. I just need to get this to line up on the bolt holes. I'm going to take our long bolt here. We did clean this up and we put some anti-seize compound on the threads. And get that started by hand. Now you might have to move that alternator a little bit for that to get started. But you definitely want to get that started by hand first. Then we can line up the top. We did the same with the upper bolt here. We cleaned that up and we put some anti-seize compound on those threads. Let's go ahead and snug down that 15mm bolt. And let's snug down the upper 13mm. Let's take our harness. I'm going to grab the eyelet, expose that. Put that on the stud in the back here. Let's get that nut started on there. Let's go ahead and snug that down. Now once that nut bottoms out, just give it a little bit more. You want to make sure it's snug, but you don't want to break that. Pop that rubber boot over there. And come on over to our electrical connector here. Line that up onto the back side, push it down. You're going to feel it and hear it snap into place. Let's go ahead and torque that lower bolt to 30 foot-pounds. Torque the upper bolt to 24 foot-pounds. Now at this point here, you want to go ahead and pull out that picture or that schematic that you had drawn for the belt placement. We're going to start by dropping that over our alternator. Go around the outside of the power steering pump. This portion of the belt is going to go underneath the idler pulley. And then we want to run this belt down underneath the crankshaft and go around the crank, back up and over the water pump. Now we have a good sized loop coming over here. We're going to bring this down, put that over the tensioner pulley down below. And then we're going to bring this up, and we're going to hold tension on this belt by the AC compressor. I'm going to do that with one hand. And then come on over here. And this here is using a 15 millimeter. Go ahead and bring up that tension on that. Stretch that belt up and over the AC compressor. Now that you have the belt on the AC compressor, you want to go ahead and inspect all of your pulleys and make sure that the belt is on. You can see it has walked off the water pump a little bit. So go ahead and just pull up on that tensioner a little bit. Slide that belt up in there. Inspect all of your pulleys. Make sure the belt is in all of the grooves properly, all the way around, and is on the crankshaft. That is on perfect. At this point here, you're all set. Once that's all set, grab that ground terminal, hook that up, and you want to use your ratchet to go ahead and snug these down in a position. You want to go ahead and snug that down gently. Now you don't want to over tighten these here. You want to get that snug, grab that terminal, give that a wiggle, make sure that doesn't spin on there, and we're all set.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.